Hello, guys. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students preparing for these exams like CFA, FRM, SCR to clear this exam. Now, I have with us one of our student, Faisal. He has been able to clear this SCR exam, Sustainability and Climate Risk exam, in the April 2024 attempt. And he's going to be talking about his overall experience of preparing for the exam. So, Faisal, thank you very much for taking out time and talking to us. And for the audience, if you can give a brief about yourself.
Okay. Well, my overall career is in credit. I was in one of the largest bank in Pakistan, working
Mhm.
as a credit professional. Throughout my career, I have done a lot of projects. Now, recently, I'm working in Tata Consultancy in Qatar as a project manager.
Mhm.
And luckily, I have just recently worked in a project in a climate risk for a bank and also doing other credit related projects. So overall, this is my you
So
can.
your project basically triggered you towards SCR, is it?
It is, but in fact, I was thinking it about for last say one and a half year when the SCR the GARP releases this program this certificate. The reason is that, as you know, that this is one of the most upcoming risk in
Yeah.
the world, which has not only operational credit or operation market liquidity risk. It's a systematic risk. It's not impacting on the banking sector or financial sector. It also has impact on the companies,
Mhm.
organizations, and also in terms of biodiversity. You can say that this is going to be impact in our day-to-day life. That is the reason this is very important that I have to learn this thing. I have to know
Mhm.
exactly what it is and how
Okay.
what are the, you can say, the outputs are, what are the learning outcomes which I can learn from this thing, and how can I
Okay.
cope for the upcoming in my career, how it helped me to excel in my career.
Okay. Wonderful. And when did you register for the GARP exam? Which
Very
month?
honestly, last year I failed, actually. Very
Okay.
honest, be honest with you. But yeah, that is the reason. In this interview, I will tell the people who want to pass the exam in the first attempt what are the how they are going to prepare,
Right.
what things they have to ensure that it's not going to impact their exam, and what are the things they can do better so that can they pass the exam at the first attempt.
Okay. And so when you attempted last time, how much time did you dedicate it for that exam? And how did
Okay.
you prepare?
This is a good question. Uh, Number one, I actually, very honestly, for this exam, when I start preparing a little bit late.
Mhm.
It took me only 2 months, only 2.5 months. I started preparing it, and it's like I have given every day 2 hour, 2.5 hour
Okay.
day. But the worst thing about this exam is that there is no solution material available, no sample exams, or no,
Right.
what you can say, the mock exams are available. So a practice exam, which really happen is that you have the practice exam, so you have a better understanding while giving the exam. Then you came
Yeah.
to know that what are the trick questions maybe, and what is the criteria where you have to focus on. So I usually give around two and a half hour per day, plus
Okay.
I read the book around almost 3 times. But yeah, but I'm pretty sure that I wasn't be able to
Okay. So
complete
you
the
did
exam.
not solve anything during that first attempt. You
Yes.
did not solve.
Yes,
Okay.
very honest. In fact, I will be very honest. Honest, when I there's a GARP mock exams available 2022. They give a
Mhm.
sample of 80 questions. Those 80 questions, when I gave it, it's like it took me a long time to do one by one. So it's
Okay.
very tricky. It's not easy for me. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And then when did you join us for this time, this attempt?
I think just last 3 months back.
Okay. And before that, there was a gap, or you were still reading the material?
No, it was like, yeah, it's a gap, but I'm trying to give some time during this, just reading the books. But yeah, not too much focus on this time. I was very much focused. I know what to do, and the good thing is that I already learned it from the first time, so it's easy for me to recover. And that is the I like to highlight this fact that the exam which appear in the book, sorry, no, exam in the real life, it's very much you can say it's not like exactly the samples or the examples they have given. It's very much there are some portion of it, you can say 40 to 50% of the portion of the book you have to memorize at any cost. You have to memorize. If you have a good memory, then there's a very much chance that you can attempt the exam in the first way. If not, then I don't think so you can easily pass the exam.
Okay. And then when you started with us, how much time you were dedicating, and what was your process? So you were watching the video and solving the question back like that?
No, very honest, Ganesh, with you, because I already read the book, so I again start reading the book. What I only did is that I actually attempted the mock questions which you have provided, and
Okay.
what I did is this time is I studied the book, I
Mhm.
attempted the mock. I studied the book, I attended that, like I studied the chapter, then go for the mock. Sometime before mock,
Okay.
do the mock, then study the chapter. That is what I have done. But no, I haven't seen your videos. I haven't seen your PowerPoint presentations, because the reason is
Okay.
I was very much confident that because I know the questions are coming directly from the book. So you have to be very clear about your concepts, which I already some 20-30% yes, but now after second time it was easy for me to understand what exactly they are saying.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. So when you said you were reading the chapter and solving, so did you do it in this way? I mean, use because there are four quizzes for each chapter that we had given, right? So
Yes.
you read the chapter and then you solved all the four quizzes in one go.
Yes.
Okay, and you completed the entire chapter. Then you went to
Yeah.
the second, third, fourth. Okay,
and
and
and and those mock questions are almost in every mock question there are 20 to 25 questions are there, so almost it's around 80 to 90 questions in four mock quizzes. So
right,
when
right.
I do that, what actually helped me is like I need to the first time I give any mock exam, the first mock, it gives
Mhm.
me around 60, 50, 60%. Second mock, it goes up to 70 to 80, and the last mock definitely goes to 90. So that is
Okay,
really encouraging for me that yes, now I am coping up with the exam.
okay, okay. And by when you had completed all of this chapter-wise quiz plus one reading of the content?
So the I understand from the last time my learning curve was that you have to complete this at least 2 weeks before the exam. So yes, I'm able to complete 2 weeks before all the 8 chapters. Then and by the way, I want to tell the people that the I will also explain how they will study in just give me just 10-15 minutes first. I
Mhm.
will explain to you that what exactly I done. So what I did is just I complete all the 8 chapters, then all the mock exams, and then the last 2 weeks I focus on that. This week I have to complete, let's suppose, 4 to 5 chapter, and again do some kind of sample questioning or some memorizing, which I have to do. I know that, and then in the last chapter, last week, my focus was to only ensure that it has to be the revision and the rest chapters, plus at much where I know that where I'm lacking, where I have to
Mhm.
relook those questions. Then I again look at those questions and again review those questions properly and memorizing the things. Unfortunately, memorizing is a very important thing.
Okay, okay, wonderful. And so basically, how many mock papers did you solve? Mock means the full length mock papers.
Okay, I honestly I did only one from your system. You can check it from my ID as well. But yeah, I did only one because I have couple of more from one of my friend gave it to me from another. However, it doesn't matter. It's like it's almost the same. I did. I usually completed those mock questions. They are more lengthy. They are more like they have in more common questions in terms of like they are asking tricky way in a tricky way. So I did
Okay.
those questions, and top of that, when I completed those mock questions, which I usually took around 2.5-3 hour, and then I looked the book again, that where I'm lacking.
Okay.
So again, reading the content.
And you solved the GARP sample paper also?
Yes, I did it at least twice.
Okay, okay. And what was the score you were getting in those GARP sample paper?
Good question. I usually got it more than 80%, because if you got Ganesh, the point is that if I'm not able to get more than 80-90% in your mock questions or GAP mock questions, or any international company which providing the GAP questions, if I'm not getting more than 80-90%, there is no chance that I will be able to get maximized in my final exams.
Okay, okay. And now, when you went to the exam, in the first half an hour, when you started solving, how was it as compared to the previous attempt?
Well, very honestly, when I started the question, first thing I would like to tell everyone who is going to for the GAP questions and attempting the GAP questions, this climate risk test. First thing, when you go into the exam, be confident.
Mhm.
Leave everything. It's just like that you are going for a real life match. It's a
Mhm.
real life cricket match. The bat is with you. Now you have to play your innings. Either you have almost 3 hours, and in 3 hours, how many shots you want to make, it's totally up to you. Forget everything, just focus on your, just believe in yourself and in God, and the maximize efforts you have done. So what I did
Mhm.
is, when I go into the exam, I forget everything. And the best thing I did is, I also changed the examination center. The last time I failed, that
Okay.
was when I said no, I'm not going there. So the good thing is, there's a new examination center, so I went there. I started it out, and it's like, the first question which I saw, it gives me 100% confident. Yes, I can do the first 5 6 questions I attempted. I said, mate, this is the day, let's do it. So I did it.
Okay.
And the good thing is, Ganesh, I like to tell everyone that I've completed in just 2 hours. And after two
Yeah.
hours, I completed my whole paper in 2 hours. And there are more than 15 to 20 questions to review, which I did it after 2 hours. I spent a lot of time, a handsome time, on those questions where I was little bit, I know that there are some, I can grumble in that. There may be some, mistakes I could do. So I read those questions again, try to get, because in those questions it's a very lengthy, like Ganesh, they hired Ganesh as a climate risk consultant, and this XYZ, the whole story. And then there's a punchline. There is something in between the lines. Now you have to understand, if you want to exactly want to get 100% marks, or you want to show that what exactly you are saying, understanding, you need to understand the question from where it is coming. The chapter
Right.
is very important. For example, I know that exactly what chapter it's coming from, which section it is coming from, which segment they're talking about. This is because I studied it again and again, highlighting the concepts, trying to
Right.
understand the concept, memorizing the concepts, which is unfortunately you have to do. And then, yeah, that's the key. That's all.
Okay. Okay. And then, how many theory and how many calculation questions you had in the exam?
Only one or two are the numerical questions. Rest are the theory questions. But those theory questions are not simple enough. Very honestly, if it's like a question, I give an example to some of my colleagues, that for the SCR exam, the teacher said the exam will be very easy. It's like orange is a fruit or a color. It's just like that. So you have to
Got it.
get what is the color, what is the fruit. So this is like, for example, I give you an example. There's a question from chapter 2, sustainability. It's like multilateral development. What is the purpose of the creating a multilateral development? There is a very straight line written in the book. Multi-development lateral development banks are being created for the financial benefit, and also to ensure the creativity and sustainability. Now this is the line. I read it from the book. I don't know how I memorized it or how I remember it, but there is a second part of it also which is very near to it. But I know exactly this is coming from the book, so I selected it, and I know I did it right.
Okay, okay, okay. And so, you, like you said, you were able to complete things before, like 2 hours, within 2 hours, right? So when you're giving mock papers also, when you're giving gap sample paper, you are also able to complete it very fast.
A second time, yes. Second, in fact, third time, very yes. And what I used to do is that I converted those GAP questions, PDF GAP questions, into Excel. And then whenever I read the book, I like read the chapter, I do exactly those GAP questions. Like, I know I have two GAP questions, like samples,
Mhm.
2021, no, 2021 and 2022. So let's suppose make it like first chapter contains around 18 to 19 questions. So I have those questions into the Excel. So it's easy for me to do in the Excel, and only focus on chapter one GAP questions. Then again three, then four, five, six, continue like this one.
Okay, great. Now, if somebody is preparing for the exam and he's coming to you for an advice, what will be three advice that you will give how to prepare for GARP SCR exam?
Okay. Number one is, if you want to do the self study, you can do it. But if you really want for a good tuition, a good someone who can help you, definitely Ganesh, go for the Ganesh, because he has a very strong material inside. And unfortunately, I found him very late. When I found him, then it was my second attempt. So it's not only the mock questions are really helpful. Now, if somebody wants to do the self study, very simple advice: do not start from chapter one. Chapter one is a very boring, very lethargic, very large. So don't do that. Start from chapter two,
Okay.
complete it chapter seven, and then again read chapter one and chapter eight. And read it like you read a storybook. Do not highlight anything. Just read it like you have read a storybook. Now, again, when you start coming for the actual preparing, because at any cost, you have to read this book at least thrice, three times. If you are a good reader, like Ganesh, you can read it twice or thrice. If you're a good reader like me, I think 4 to 5 times you have to read, because I know I need to read a lot and understand it in a very perspective way. So, and the second time, the mantra which I perceived, you can say I learned from my experience, that is that chapter 3, chapter 6, chapter 7, and chapter 8, they are almost the same. So if you want to understand the pure climate risk, it is in between these chapters. Chapter 3 is start the basis. Chapter 6 is going to help you out in detail, and most of the questions are coming from chapter 6, like 15 to 18 questions. Then
Okay.
chapter 7, and then chapter 8, because chapter 7 is based on chapter 3 and 6, and how the models are being created, IPCC and net zero and all those
Right.
models, plus case studies. Case studies are very important. Wherever the case studies are, you need to understand what are the basis of those case studies. What are for example, let's talk about HSBC case study.
Hmm.
HSBC case study in terms of like hot zone, there are three NGFS scenarios they have created, and what are the industries which are particularly very effective, it's been affected by that. So you have to understand the case studies, the logic there, because the questions are coming. Then you can go to chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5, and then back to chapter 1 and chapter 2. Chapter 2 is a very simple, straightforward chapter, but my God, most of the people failed in chapter 1 and 2, especially chapter
Okay.
2, because chapter 2 are it's like 5 or 6 pages, but mostly are memorizing.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So, I mean, Acha, one final question is that did you find what was your experience of the actual exam as compared to the GARP sample paper?
Totally different, Ganesh. Totally different. In fact, your exam is, if what I found in your mock exam is, it's like you did a good thing. You actually, what you did is you take it from the from your book, and exactly the same answer. So at any unfortunately, you have to learn what the book is saying. So
Hmm.
your exams are like from the book. So understanding and concept is important, but exactly from the book where it is written. So
Right.
now the question related to GARP sample question and the actual questions, 5% similarity, 6%, 8%, not more than that. It's totally different. Totally, it's as I said, as I gave you example, orange is a fruit or a color. It's up to you. You have to understand it. Like it's in the book. And by the way, after the exam, they ask your opinion about it. That how's the exam? And most of my colleagues and myself always said that please, for God's sake, don't make it memorizing or rhetorization. But unfortunately, they don't have any other stuff to ask the
Hmm.
questions. Questions are as I said, some other questions are lengthy.
Hmm.
Like for example, the case study. I know most of the people are wasting their time to understand the whole case study. No, you don't need to. Just read the question first, then the
Right.
answers, and
Right.
then go for the, because for example, this time the case study has mostly come, as you already guided me, that focus on the chapter 5. Most of the questions are coming, and exactly the case study has at least three questions, four. There are four questions, and three questions are from the chapter 5. Like,
Okay.
they have a whole case study that like
Hmm.
fin intelligence or whatever it is they have created. There's XYZ, run, and what are the characteristics of the green bonds? What you have to select from these basics,
Okay.
something like that. So it's, if you exactly know that what are the characteristics of green bonds, what are the difference between sustainability bonds, and you have to memorize the green bond and sustainability bonds characteristics. Plus there are some, they already provided a detail in that. Exactly, I don't know now, because I want to forget it for the time being. It's too much stuff. You understand, Ganesh? So yeah, so you have to memorize, and don't too much focus on the question. Try to focus on the sublines, and there are sublines you have to focus. Like, either it's from chapter
Mhm.
3, either you it makes you confused, it is from chapter 3 or chapter 6 and chapter 7. Because if
Okay.
you don't know the question is from chapter 3 or 6 or 7, you may be failed.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, this conversation is going to be really helpful for the audience who's going to give the exam in the future. So, your experience of preparing and again giving the exam for the second time, because it takes a lot of effort also to
Yes.
be mentally prepared that okay, I'm going for the same content, reading the same material again. It takes a lot
And
of
Ganesh,
patience also.
This is the Ramzan. I was preparing in Ramadan. The whole day I was fasting and working. At the same time, the critical projects is going on. And then in the night from 8 to 12, something like that, I used to give my family really sacrifice. Each third day, I
Wow.
was again studying. And you know how much I bothering you. I sometimes, I mean, you know that. And thank you very much the way you motivating me, because you are the one who said, by the way, when I came from the exam, I know I passed it. I don't know. Something is saying that Faisal, you passed. But after a couple of days, and the exam is, they're not giving the result this time. I don't know what happened, but they took around 20 days. And you know what? I also called GARP directly USA, and the lady was laughing. Just couple of days, it's like 17. I called, and she was laughing. I said, "Can you help me to check my exam at least?" But you said to me that don't worry, Faisal, you are past this time. I don't know what's believing you, but you said that, and I said, okay, if you're saying so, then I appreciate that. Yeah, that was the case.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, all of this is really going to be very helpful for a lot of students who are going
Indeed.
to give the exam in the future, because you have been through that part and you have seen what is the exam, how you have cleared. So your interview is definitely going to be very helpful. So thank you very much,
Thank you.
Faisal,
Thank you
for
very much.
taking our time.